We're out here at the Kern River. It's a beautiful day today. I'm gonna have a short day of digging. I'll probably get 10, 15 pans in, hopefully. Get my test pans in and hopefully find us some nice gold and see what we can get out of all this. But I'll do the digging. You dig the likes and subscribes. Let's get to digging. So the first order of business is we're gonna get this rock right here. This little guy looks kind of like a butt cheeks, and it's cracked. It's in a spot where I found gold nearby, not a lot. So it's one piece. On this side right here, I'm gonna split right down the middle of these butt cheeks, kick it off, and see if there's anything underneath. I'm getting a couple test pans of that, and we'll come on over here. And I want to take my digging bar. I got Baz, the gold sniffing cat. And yeah, right about there, I'm going to take my digging bar and see if this crevice has any deep spots. Take a couple pans from there, test it out. And then this little spot right here, I want to hit. Along here, you can see it's in between these two pieces of bedrock. We're going to try to check it out, see what we can get out of there. Maybe same thing with the bar, see if I can find any pockets, isolate my digging. I have kind of a short time today, and we'll get on some gold and then work that area on the best test pan of these three spots. Yeah, it's pretty nice and loose already. So I'm hoping there's some stuff packed in here. If there is, I'll give you guys a look at it. If it looks good, if not, you'll get a view from right there. Um, let's see. Some of this rock, it's not bad. It's fallen into a hole I've already worked on, which works out pretty well. I'll be able to get that material if there's anything on it. Not much on that side of the rock. Let's get in here and see if there's a crevice of some sort, any kind of gravels, any indicators or indications that there might be any gold in here. So far, bedrock, it's right here. I do feel a little crevice. Regardless, I am going to take a little test pan right here and get some of these leaves out of the way. All right, let's get that in the pan. Yeah, mainly today I'm trying to find spots where I can get some gold. I've been finding good gold, except for my last trip from the last video, which I'll try to leave a link for it in the description. And you guys can see I didn't get a lot of gold. I struck out on a lot of spots. And I've been getting a lot of stuff. So I want to try to, instead of working a spot and, when in doubt, dig it out, I'm going to try to do the actual prospecting work of test panning, finding the best spots to dig, and see what I can really get out of a spot if I really put in the knowledge and the time to test the area and actually work a higher paying spot instead of just guessing and blowing and going. I'm pretty healthy in ways, so I don't mind just digging a bunch of dirt, throwing it in a pan, taking it down and panning it. But with that hard work and effort, if I use a little bit of knowledge, work smarter, not harder, I can probably get on some good gold. I've been hitting a lot of spots that really have just paid out right away, so I just dug. And this last little adventure in that last video wasn't the case. I did get gold. Some of it was from the spot from the video before that, if you're kind of following along. So we're going to see if this one and this style pays off or not. I'm going to try to just get some of the juicier material in these little crevices. Try to get an indication on the best spots. If I find gold in one pan, get a look at it, get a look at the materials around it, how coarse the black sand is and all that, and then determine if I'm going to dig that spot compared to the other two spots that I'm about to try. Now, these spots, it might take a little bit of work, just to get to it. So, you know, there will be work involved, but I'll be back to this spot shortly, a couple weeks. So when I do come back, I'll know more where to dig. I might not get a lot of gold today or a lot of digging done today, but the prospecting aspect, I'll know where to mine it later when I come back. As of right now, I'm not looking for numbers of gold to take home and process and get cleaned up. I'm looking for future digging because this trip hasn't produced a lot so far, or my last trip hasn't produced a lot so far. So if I can make most out of the time I have left, and it's not like taking a loss, it's being more educated on what's to come on my next trip. So I'll know right where to dig next time. Be able to kind of pan it super slow. I'm going to try to get this panned out, see what we got. Here's the pan of material, half a pan. You know. Okay, so here's the pan. I'm going to try to process it kind of fast and one-handed, so we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you one thing, keep the pan in the water a little bit when you're stratifying. It takes a lot of the weight off if you guys haven't known that. I'm sure most of you already know that, but keep it in the water floating somewhat. I was before holding it above the water and shaking it and thinking that was better and gonna stratify better, but looking at it, it kind of does the same thing, just in the water it floats better, so it's not nearly as toll taking on your body and your arms. This to me is way better. Kind of keep it in there a little bit and just shake it. Of course, it's a small pan, so one hand's a little bit okay on this one. But yeah, we're gonna get this panned out real quick. I'll do a little wash back, show you guys exactly what is in here, if anything. And if not, well, we'll know. Don't go to that spot. Let's see, we're almost ready. Let me flip this around. Get a little more of this washed out, because why not? Okay, here we go. Let's see. You guys see anything? I don't see nothing. Not yet. Not yet. So that rock that looked like some booty cheeks, it didn't hold any gold. It actually held crap. That was it. So we're going to go ahead and get the digging bar. We're going to poke into this ground, see if we can find a pocket. Whenever it stops, it's bedrock. If I can go upstream and find a deeper spot, that's a pocket. And that's where I'm going to dig. And here we go. Let's check out this process. So up here, pretty deep so far. Let me find bedrock. Okay, we got that. Bedrock. All right, it's dropping off. Oh, it's a little bit deep there. Kind of deep there. Up here, maybe not as, ooh, feel some rocks down there. Ooh, yeah, guys, there we go. There's a deep spot right there. I hope it's not too deep so I can get into it. Let's come down a little further. Okay. Nope, not feeling nothing there. This is pretty deep, but deep all the way through. All right, so I'm seeing a crevice coming through here, running up this way on this bedrock over here. Maybe it runs through here. So I'm going to try to dig right about here and up here a little bit. Here we go. So this is nice. I have, show you what I did. I moved a bunch of the dirt from this little area, okay? I got some of the topsoil, could be overburdened, put it in my bucket, scooped a bunch of it away, and then got some of the middle grade stuff, like the middle area so far, put it in the bucket, and then scrape some more away. I'm getting deeper. I found an old Coors can. Looks to be an old pop top. You know what I do with cans. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I'm going to take that. Not a lot in there, but I'm going to go ahead and pan that thing out. So we'll put that to the side. But now I'm getting down a little deeper. Looks like I'm going to be getting into a spot with some material. Oh yeah, I sure am. And I wanted to get that on footage, get that on video for you guys, because I can't feel the bottom of this hole yet. So I'm going to get this into a pan, leave my bucket. If I find gold in this bottom part, I'm going to test all this for flood gold, and I'll just take a couple scoops real quick, see if it's going to be worth digging for the day. Here we go. Let's get some gold in the pan. Make a day out of this. I don't know about any of you guys that come out gold panning and stuff and prospecting around. I am new at this gold panning prospecting thing. I've been at it, I don't know, maybe 10 years here and there, and get better almost every time I go. Not with the amount of gold I find, but with the ideas I get. I'm trying to find the gold, see where it's coming and going, and I still have a lot to learn. But I also get impatient, and I don't know if you guys are the same way. You find a little bit of gold and want to get the gold. We don't all have a whole bunch of time to spend and dedicate to, say, prospecting around, finding the best hole to dig, and then going home almost empty-handed just to try to come back and dig that spot where you prospected to find a good spot to dig. Some of us get impatient, and I've been guilty of that plenty of times. I get impatient and want to just dig, 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 dig. Sometimes it's not the best route. Sometimes it works out. Here's the material I got out of this hole. Dug down, got close to the bottom. We're gonna pan it out. If I don't see any specks, we'll move to the next spot. Okay, so here we go. That one little speck right there. So right here is where I found most of my gold, in this area near my camp on the last couple trips. I'm gonna start poking around, kind of prod it and see if there's any other deeper holes in this little area that I can continue on. Here's what we do. Kind of get down in there. That stop. I think that's bedrock. Ooh, that sounds like little pebbles in there. That's bedrock. Bedrock. All right. Bedrock, 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 bedrock. Okay. So I think I found a little edge right here, a little cliff. So I might try some of this area, see if I can find that cliff. If it's anything like this spot, we're gonna be in for a nice little treat. Let's get that dug up, pan it out, show you guys what we get. Here's the pan. So far it looks, I just got a quick pan. It looked like some pretty decent material. This will probably be where I'm gonna spend my day digging. But we will do a couple other tests because I do want to get some gold today. Like I said, I'm impatient. I want to get gold, but I want to find some good spots. So let's get this panned out, see what happens. So here's what I have in this pan. I didn't go very deep or very hard. I did find part of the bottom of that crevice, but here's the rocks we have in there. Pretty good looking stuff. I'm having high hopes for this to have some gold in it. If it does have good gold, I'll spend my day mining. But if it doesn't, I'll keep prospecting. And if I don't find a good spot to be worth digging, I'm going to spend my time prospecting if I can stay patient and on track and actually do what I'm trying to do here. So let's get this panned out, see what it holds, and see what's up next. There we have it. A few specks of gold. 1, 2, 3, I think 2 more wash back here. But pretty good sized pieces. I'm going to take another test pan. If it stays consistent, well, I've done my prospecting for the day. I'm going to get to digging because I'm just not patient like that. So, but no, if we get a similar pan, I'll test one more spot, and that spot's going to be right next to where I'm sitting, where I'm panning out. I think there could be some promising crevices in here. So, let's see. All right, guys, I'm having trouble now because this pan looks pretty good. There's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, about 6,000 pieces in there. No, there's actually a pretty good sized chunk in there. Easy digging too. I got this pan filled up so fast and panned out. I want to dig there. But before I do, let's see if that gold from over here, if the gold from where my shovel is there, this crevice of this bedrock all right here. Let's just see, maybe it has a channel and it runs down into where I want to try next. Right under that little itty bitty boulder, maybe 10-pound boulder. Let's get under that, do a test pan, and if the gold looks better here, sweet, I'm digging. If it doesn't, I am going to be the impatient man that I am, and I am going to dig my little butt off on this spot. Because honestly, today I was counting on this rock with the booty cheeks to pay off, and all it did was leave me with a pile of crap. But luckily, I have my other gold sniffing cat, Max, here, and he's going to help me find some gold. Huh, Max? Say hi to the camera, Max. Meow. Yeah, he's my little camping buddy, little gold sniffing cat. He gets a little lazy because he's older, but he's my camping buddy, cool little cat. So yeah, let's try this, see what we get. Okay, so I got my bar in here, poked around. To me, it feels like all sand. It hits smooth all the way down. Okay, hits the bedrock, smooth, smooth. Bedrock, smooth, smooth. I'm not touching bedrock yet, right there. Okay, I moved some of these leaves. There's so many leaves. Move some of those, poke right here. Stops, not bedrock. Sounds like rocks. That's a cobble. Yeah, here is my next spot. If that doesn't work, I'll go back to this spot again. All right. Okay, guys, so here's what we got. I dug in here a little ways, and you can see there's a little piece of cobble sticking out right here. I can tell by the stuff in this hole. I took a piece from top, piece from middle, like half shovels, and then a bunch at the bottom. Here's my pan. I can tell you there's going to be more gold in here than the previous pans that I did. You know, this is downstream, so it's kind of hard to think the water flow would hit that, but I guess before the rocks and after the rocks, big boulders should have gold. And that is, I mean, just a perfect little sluice box from all this bedrock. This is a big sheet of bedrock all the way up to there. So let's see what happens. I'm excited for this pan. I'm probably going to be digging here, I'll almost bet you, because there's going to be good gold in there. If not, well, like I said, I have a lot to learn. So yeah, this is going to be a great pan. I'm willing to guess. There are so many gravels. Hard, light, big, small, medium. I mean, it's all there. Perfect combination. Pizza for some good gold. Hopefully we find some sausage-sized pizza gold here and make a pizza pie. Anyways, let's get this panned out. Here it is. I found a couple split shots and then a big sinker. It's an older sinker. I threw it up on the bank. I gotta find it. And yeah, once I seen that, I knew it was gonna be good. That is a good chunk of gold right there. It's got to be one of my biggest pieces. And there's another 8 or 10 specks in there. Plus, I washed some back because I got too excited. And yep, you guessed it. I'm gonna dig, and I'm gonna dig hard in that little hole. So let's get to digging. As I'm walking back to my camp here, that crevice, along with that top piece, I'm sure I'll get half of it dug out, but it's all gonna connect to the same piece of crevice, I'm sure. So the test pans all the way through so far have been pretty good. I'll do one more actually on that first spot where that 8 or 10 pound boulder was. Try to get that tested to see how far down I want to go. But I'm gonna start digging. I got to get my camp set up, put away here pretty soon. So we'll get that started and I'll give you guys a little update if I find anything good. Okay guys, I've got to hurry and get this dug out as fast as I can. We got a storm coming in and I gotta get my whole camp put away. It's gonna take me about an hour, maybe hour and a half to get all my camp put away. So I have to try to dig fast because of course my first priority is to get that gold. And yeah, probably backwards on my priorities here. But I'm gonna dig for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, I think. I'll probably hopefully get half this crevice knocked out, show you guys the good stuff, and start getting my camp put away before it starts pouring on us. Yeah, I'm in a hurry. Once again, impatient. I'm not gonna test that area. I'm gonna try to just trench, dig all that, all the way down into here. You know, it's a little bit of cobble where I found the good gold. Into there. I'm not gonna worry about up there because all the leaves, but I know up there's good. And all this trench I'll leave for next time. Hide it all so nobody gets my goodies. And I'm gonna just get to digging here. I'm gonna get my mucks on so I can get in the water, not get completely soaked on my shoes while I'm getting everything ready and pan it out faster. I'm gonna fill up this bucket and classify it down at the river as I go and show you guys the gold. Hopefully there's a lot of it. But I'm going to get a bucket filled up, pound it out. I'll get back to you guys with the money shot. So I just took all the juiciest stuff. Hopefully the stuff on the bottom should be the more juicy stuff, or at least the bigger pieces. I know a lot of the stuff in the middle and top will have some gold too, I'm sure, because that's the way it sits in the Kern River. But put a lot of my dirt up here in the leaves, and right here I'm going to throw it all back in the hole when I'm done and then work on it later. But I'm in a hurry now because the storm, it's not going to be crazy, but I have to drive up a very steep, rough, kind of a nasty dirt road, and whenever it rains it gets bad, and I don't have four-wheel drive. But here's my bucket, here's my pan, here's my river, there's my seat. I'm going to put the concentrates in there, go through this whole bucket at the end. If it's juicy, I'll show you. If not, I'm going to dig a little more. Hopefully I can get 2 of these big buckets done, be ready to go, and show you guys the results. Okay, so I got that first bucket done. A couple of good pieces in here, maybe 10 specks of gold. So 1 bucket unclassified, then I classified it into my pans. I took 3 pans to do the bucket. It took about 10 minutes. So you know what that means. I'm going to do about 2 or 3 more buckets. And if I get that much per bucket every 10 minutes, I might be able to buy a Big Mac on the way home. So I did do, like I said, more of the bottom of this crevice here on my bucket. Whenever I did the test pan, looking back, I had a pretty good speck count in 1 pan, but I took some from the top, the middle, and the bottom. So all the stuff that I kind of slothed to the side, I'm going to run that real quick. And maybe this flood gold's a lot higher than I think. And this bottom stuff, maybe it's just falling from the top. Okay, so I've gotten another bucket done pretty quickly. Found a nice speck of gold. Put it in my concentrates. You guys will have to wait till the end to see it. It's not a nugget or nothing, but a pretty good sized piece. So this little hole, it dives down right here. Now it's in here. You can't really see it on this camera, obviously, but you can kind of tell. But it dives down. We have a bedrock, 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 and then it goes swoop, goes straight down. There's a pocket in here on top of all this, and I said I wasn't going to move all this today, but I might move some of it, or just try to get in there. But I'm going to dig out some of this too, because I found on the little fluffy dirt on top, I found some pretty good gold, so I'm going to save that for later. Hope nobody steals it from me and cover it up. But I'm going to dig all this as good as I can. A couple more buckets, how fast it's going. Weather isn't looking too shabby yet. It is going to get worse, but yeah, we got in training Max, the gold digging cat. Got him drinking out of my gold pan where all the gold is, so he can drink that water, and hopefully he'll come over here smelling around and be like, hey, I want to drink water from right here because there's gold. And then I'll say, thank you, Max. Dig it up and get rich. That's the plan anyways. Okay, so I got another bucket done. It was 3 pans after classifying, and we got a pretty good little section of dirt and mixed into that deep hole and that top stuff. So there's a few specks in there. They're pretty chunky and round. Of course, very small for the Kern River. It's good, but small, fine gold. But beautiful. I love it, and I'm going to keep digging because I want more of it. So I think this is my 4th bucket. Could be my 10th, could be my 3rd. I'm not sure, but I'm getting enough gold out of here to be really happy and excited. And I'm digging and digging and panning. So here comes to another bucket. Classifier, same routine. I'll show you the good stuff at the end. Might do 1 more bucket after this, and then I'm calling it a day for the gold. Gonna get my camp set up, get everything going back in the truck so we can go home, get the cat back to his house where, you know, he likes to be because he's a cat. Say hi, Max. Meow. That's about all you guys get out of him. He's, you know, pretty strict boss over here. Anyways, we'll be getting back to the house here shortly. I'll get all this gold weighed up and panned out and show you guys the end result from a beautiful day at the Kern River. So about the same stuff, every pan so far. After 3 buckets, it's about the same. So spent my last trip here on the last video you'll see if you watched it. Spent a lot of time digging in one hole, hoping to find some type of a crevice like I found in that video before. And this hole over here, just digging aimlessly, you know. When in doubt, dig it out. When I could have spent the time to use this digging bar to prod around the ground, poke it, and try to find the pockets and the holes in the bedrock that I actually am looking for. Instead of digging it, I could just test and probably use a little bit of intelligence in some of the tools that I have, instead of just digging aimlessly, hoping for the best, because I've been doing that and getting pretty lucky. The lucky gold's running out. It's time to start using a little bit of knowledge and skill set and some of the things that I've learned over the course of my little gold panning adventures, and find the good spots and work those. And today I'll see how it pays off, because this is looking pretty good for the gold so far. And next trip, I know right where I'm going to dig. Stay tuned and let's see all the goody goods. Okay, so all of my digging for today has come to an end. I did a few buckets, and this is all the concentrates from that. Should be some pretty good stuff in there. I'm going to go through all that later, show you guys. And this is the damage that I did to this little pit, little trench. Not too bad for a couple hours of work. About 3 or 4 hours, I would have to guess. But yeah, so we're done for the day. I've got to get my camp set up. I've got to try to get home pretty soon here, as much as I want to stay out here on this beautiful river. So yeah, that pretty well does it for today. Me and the cats got some good gold, I hope. Max, the gold digging cat, kind of like the supervisor, comes and checks my pan every so often to make sure it's all still there, I guess, and of course gets a nice drink of water. So we got some packing to do, get back home, and I'll go through all the gold, get some weigh ups and some totals, and show you guys what I got. I did that last bucket and off camera, and it looked pretty good. There was a couple pieces. I just kind of quickly washed it back after panning. A couple of cool pieces, nothing spectacular. And you know, if it was, I would have showed you, obviously. But we'll get all the totals and show you guys at the end, and kind of, you know, prove the point. Sometimes you don't want to just dig. Sometimes you want to do some testing, poke some holes. If you're not sure where to dig, and you're kind of overwhelmed with the ground because there's a lot of spots that could be good, but you have to move a lot of stuff to get to them, try digging with like a digging bar and poke down to the bottom. See if you can find a dent or an indentation in the crevice itself, how deep it is. You can kind of prod it and just poke in there like I showed you on the video, and it'll kind of tell you where some of the spots are that might be worth digging and worth moving all the overburden, you know, worth moving all the tree limbs and all the crap that's just down on the forest floor here, down by the river. And it'll help you find a good spot. And sometimes you get a honey hole, a nice little pocket. Other times you dig it out and just get lucky and hope for the best, which is what I've been doing. But this took a lot more skill and knowledge that I had to do, because I was striking out on my last trip up here, kind of striking out on the gold. So I said I'm gonna go with a different route, and while I'm at it, I'll show you guys a digging bar if you haven't ever tried that routine yet. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave that like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time. Okay, so here we are. We got our concentrates from poking around with our digging bar. You know, we tested a new method, trying to find a crevice under all the dirt so we don't have to just keep digging and digging and dig it out, and use that method, because that didn't seem to work too well last time. Last time I got decent little amount of gold, but did a lot of digging. This time I poked around, tried to find better hot spots, and within those hot spots it seemed like a lot less digging, and I feel like I got a pretty decent amount of gold. Here's my bucket of concentrates. I'm going to run it through a couple of screens here. A classifier, I'm not sure the size on it. Oh, this one, I guess the sticker's still on there. It says, I think it's a +10, or I don't know. Let's see right here. So I'm not sure what it is, but pretty thick. I never get gold out of there. My gold's way too small. This one, I hardly ever get anything bigger than that as well. And it's pretty small, but sometimes. So we're going to run it through both of those, see what happens. This one, on the other hand, possibility. Okay, pretty clean. Let's pan this a little. Hopefully it's more than my last trip, which I'll try to put that video in the link below in the description or something so you guys can check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm definitely going to be going back and using that same method with that digging bar. I really liked how that worked out because I'm looking for crevices under a bunch of leaves and a bunch of dirt and sand and material that doesn't look very good. So when I have material that doesn't look very good, I tend to sometimes just get excited and I don't mind the hard work, so I'll just start digging it. And it's not always the best route because sometimes you get nothing and you work really hard for nothing when you could be working really hard, say, for something. Is that a piece of gold? Oh man. Wow. There's no way. I'm almost never finding gold in this one. Look at that, guys. Okay, let's see if I can get this on camera here. Where is it? Where did you go? Why can't I see you on here? Okay, it's the shiny piece. There she is. Look at that. That's a beauty. First, I'm going to get my magnet and get rid of a whole bunch of this material here. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do here because there's so much, you know. I just stick it in for just that little bit and look at all that metal in there. So what I'm trying to do here is I stratify it and sucks with the glare of the water, but you gotta have light obviously. So what I do is I get it stratified, try to get all the gold to the bottom of course, and then let it kind of sit, get it right in that corner if I can to the edge. Then I come in nice and slowly and try to watch it, try to start washing it out, washing it back. And as I'm doing it, I'm looking to see if there's any gold, of course rolling down the pan. But if you go nice and slow, you can get rid of a lot of this stuff, of course, into a tub or something. And I go until I see a little bit of gold popping out of the black sand. I usually see it coming out of the black sand. I go slow enough so I can see a piece. You're not going to see it on camera, but I can see a little piece popping out, very, very small. Once I do it again, stratify it. And I try to get it to a nice little clump, just like so. Don't lean it forward too much while you do it, because then you'll end up with the gold all at the top. As you're doing it, you just want to go nice and slow. Yeah, it takes time. Sometimes it's better than doing a spoonful at a time or swirling your pan, you know. And a good way to do it is I go into another pan and do it in a pan, in the water, in the tub, in the pan, so I can kind of go through a little bit at a time in the pan that I'm panning into. Seems to make it even easier, so if you do lose any, you can pan it right out of there. But yeah, as you get really close to it, kind of look and just go a little bit. Don't let it wash all the way back here, because then you get a little trough on the edges, and that trough you're not going to be able to see if the gold's coming down that trough as good as you can see if it's just coming right off the very tip top of that black sand. You can start to see the gold expose itself. Man, I mean, it's a slow process, but it's really easy, controlled, and I feel like you're going to get more of your gold recovery in the first go around like this. I just get it kind of washed down pretty close. Once it's washed down enough, then I do my little swirls and wash it back and blah blah blah, tap tap tap, you know. But here's the process for the beginning process of getting rid of all this black sand and all the heavies besides the gold and all the concentrates. And yeah, like I said, one day I'll make me a miller table or get one and or a cleanup sluice and make my life a lot easier with all this stuff I'm doing. So anyways, I'll continue on. Once I get it close enough, I'll give you guys a wash back and a little sneak peek. Okay, so we're getting down to the bottom here. Haven't really got a peek yet, but this is about all that I have left up in here is this little bit of black sand here, you know, finger to bear. Not much. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get a little wash back instead of pan this down any further. So if you guys are ready, let's do this, huh? Oh, wow, I'm seeing some stuff peek out there. Oh, look at that. That is amazing. So this, like I said, I'll post the other video down below, probably in the description here. But honestly, for this looks like about the same amount, maybe even more than last time. Plus I have that piece in my snuffer bottle. I'll get that out when I'm done here. But honestly, it looks like I've done better on a half a day of digging, just panning, than I did on a day and a half or 2 days compared to last time. This is poking around, finding better spots under all the dirt that I'm just digging and digging. Instead, I'll just find the hot spots, find the little holes and pockets, dig them out. So I think that digging bar was way better. Let me get this cleaned up, give you guys a good look, and we'll get our totals on the way in. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's see what we've got here. I'm excited to see what smart digging does compared to hard digging. You know, spend half a day looking for a good spot and find a good spot and just dig it really hard. Or how I do sometimes, I just start digging and I guess hoping for the best. And I'm gonna tell you, I think this spending more time trying to find a good spot might pay off even better instead of just hoping I'm digging in a good spot and just digging my little life away, because this on a half a day looks like more than the other one, which we'll get a comparison and we'll see here. But here we go. Here's what we got. I'll get it all cleaned up, dried out, weighed up, and get you guys the totals. If working smarter, not harder, is the way to go. Well, either my scale's broken or that weighs nothing. It doesn't make much sense, but we'll say a 0.05. But for half a day of work, I'll take it.